All right, so let's start the session. Right, so I hope everybody is here. So, how are you, everyone? A very good evening to everyone out here. Hope you all are doing safe and keeping well with your family. Yeah. Uh, all right. Good evening. So, I hope we are the same students with who appeared for the sessions last week also. Do we have the same batch? All right. That's perfect to know. Thank you. I'm doing really good. Thank you so much for asking. So in the last class, we also did a very important session, which was of resume writing. So since every student, even if you are in first year, second year, and or maybe you are approaching to fourth year, or maybe you are applying for any, you know, trainings, internship, maybe any project or any company. So you need a resume for that, an application for that session. Yeah. Uh, Priyanshu, yes, the team will connect with you to understand whether you will get the recording of the sessions or not. But this is what we had covered in the last class. So there were two sessions of interview of resume writing, wherein we understood how to write the resume, what are the do's, what are the don'ts, how to get it highlighted to the recruiter, what are the keywords to be added, right? So all these things we had covered during our resume writing sessions. Now we got to understand that yes, resume is important for all of us out here, and I'm sure you all have made your resumes. So I hope you all have made your resumes with you. Vishnu, yes, there are all the sessions are recorded, so I am sure that will be available on your portal, so you can visit there and can watch the same. Now, uh, so today, like we are covering what today we will be covering interviews, right? So from now onwards, your sessions will be very important because we will be covering the interviews, right? So more or less, it will be becoming more of interactive, right? Because now, I would like to take your inputs also. I would like to few questions that how will you answer in the confidence, right? And many students they believe that man, we are just in second year, do we really need to prepare for the interviews? So my dear friends, nothing comes across to your way just a night before. Will this ever happen to you, that you last night you slept as an engineer, as a student, and the next day you woke up as a professional? Will that happen with you? Is my voice breaking for everyone? Do you think my voice is breaking, everyone?
No, no. No, man.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much.
Never happened.
So it will never happen that you sleep as a student and you woke up as a professional. This is a long term journey that a student persists to become a professional. There are so many things that are imbibed with each other to become a professional. Like, not the case when you go in the professional world, right? So even if you don't have that
Madam, your
a
voice is
mood,
breaking
or maybe you don't
sometimes.
have the urge to go to the
Hello, madam.
office, you cannot take a leave. Okay, is it with everybody, or I mean few students are only facing this, my voice is breaking?
Ma'am, sometimes your voice will be cracking.
Okay, let me check my internet connection. Just wait. Is it fine now?
Yes,
My
ma'am.
voice clear?
Yes,
Internet
yes, ma'am.
is now, I hope now internet will not go anywhere, right? So that's what I mean to say, and I mean to say that that's what I wanted to say, that we have to be professionals. Now what happens is, for example, when you appear in front of the recruiter, trust me on this, the moment you sit there and the moment he asks you one question, please introduce yourself. And you get many heart attacks, multiple times he'd look at you. Isn't at that particular time you will believe there is some, some uh, alien is sitting from the another world and sitting in front of you, right? And he is asking you some questions which you have never ever heard of, right? And trust me, there is nothing that can stop you to faint, right? But this is not the case, because that is just the interaction process that happens, right? Has anyone out of the group has ever faced the interview session anytime? Anyone? Yes, no, maybe. Yogesh. So Yogesh, can you please tell me your experience? How was your interview session? You can unmute yourself and tell us. So Priyanshu, this session will bring you a lot of insight. Can be very, very important session for you. So most of you have not, right? But I'm sure soon you all will be, right? So first of all, before I start the session, let me be very, very clear to you that there is an NDA interview. I got out because of lack of thoughts, and at the moment, yes, very good. So this is what actually happens, my dear students. So all of us has this dilemma that we will sit in the interview process, and night before we will prepare everything and it will happen. No, it will not happen, because interview is not about answering the questions. Interview is all about how do you answer the question. There is one question, what kind of person you are. So there are multiple ways to answer. One says I'm an energetic person, I'm an honest person, and somebody elaborates it with the example. So definitely that person has creative thought process. That person has a tendency to think, evaluate, analyze. So that means his analytical skills will be better. So when there are multiple questions that are being asked during the interview sessions, all has meaning. Even if he is asking you, how did you spend your last birthday, and you will be like, why is he interested to know my last birthday, right? But there is one intention that is hidden behind to ask. Now somebody would wonder if you hear from your recruiter saying, who are you close to in your family, and what is the feedback they give you, right? Are you working on this or not? So now you will think, why is he interested or she's interested to know who am I close to and what kind of feedback I keep on receiving from them? But my dear friends, this is all connected to your candidature. Now understand one thing, that when you talk about interview, so it is not a process of 15 minutes. It is a process when person or the recruiter wants to analyze your personality. They want to understand your thought process. They want to understand the way you behave. They want to understand your future goals. They want to understand your basic characteristics, because they are just not interviewing you, but also they are investing some 6 to 7 LPA for freshers. This is the minimum that a fresher receives, right? Now if a company is investing some 6 to 7 lakhs rupees in a person, so definitely he would like to fetch the best out of his. If you don't agree to me, say no. Do you all agree to the same? I want this session to be interactive. Let's make a
Yes,
creative
ma'am.
one.
I agree.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Agreed? Okay. Now think like this way: when you go buy a t-shirt for yourself, or maybe girls buy a good dress for themselves, maybe searching different e-commerce websites. So you find out the best deal. That means something that is effective, their brands, but they're lower in the cost. And the moment you see it, you buy it, right? So that's what happens. There are multiple variety, the choices available for even for the recruiter, but he want to choose the best for his company, where he can get maximum knowledge, maximum skills, and other creativity also in the same person. Or in the simpler words, he want a person who is a multitasker, who is amalgamation of many things altogether. If you meets his requirement, even if he has to negotiate with the salary part, he will, right? But he will never compromise with the quality standards. He will never do that. So to understand who are you, they have set of questions, right? So those set of questions are there to understand your mindset. And I'm telling you, you go to any company, they don't have pre-written questions in front of them to ask a person. They ask question based on the answers you have previously given to the recruiters, and from that they fetch the question for you each and every time, right? That's why it is always said, speak, but don't speak much, or don't speak less. You have to be more into the good listening skills. Don't become very emotional. So on the lighter side, like what happens when you have entered in a in the recruitment room, there is a beautiful and a very good looking HR. To be precise, a female HR is sitting, right? And she gave you a beautiful smile. So I understand, the how the boys are, they become really very happy. Okay, she's smiling, right? That means she's liking us. Okay, then she asks you the few questions. Oh, tell me about your weaknesses. But your mentor has told you so many things that no, you are not supposed to tell your weaknesses. But yes, what to do? The beautiful one, no, asked you a question. So ultimately, you have to answer all the questions, with all honesty, and you did all the well. And then she'll be, oh, that happened, yes sir, ma'am, this I don't only have one weakness, I have the second weakness also. Oh, that's really nice. So after that, she'll tell you with a smile, please, you may leave for the day. Our HR will get back to you shortly. You are very happy, go child. Right, right after the room, you will in call a invite to your friends that yes, everything is sorted, and now nobody can stop me to get through this interview process. But my dear friends, this HR will will never get back to you. So the moral of the story is, don't go in the flow how it has been asked. You have to be strong minded, that how to answer, what to answer, and how much to answer. If you have this mindset, if you can understand, evaluate, and can mentor these answers, there is nothing that can stop you. So in this particular session, I will be taking you through with the questions. First of all, I would discuss the do's and don'ts of interview sessions and tell you, and then we will cover the types of questions you can expect from the recruiters. So I hope I have not hope I have almost 100 questions. If you cover them all, and if you understand them all very well, and you understand how to answer them, even 20 or 30 of them, trust me, there is no company, and I'm telling you very very strong words, there is no company that can reject you if you can follow all the protocols and all the instructions that are given to you in this particular interview session. So before this, are you all ready for the same?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so please
Yes,
let me
ma'am.
know once you can see my screen. Now this is the first slide that says, what is an interview? Can anyone would like to tell me what do you understand from the term called interview process? What is an interview according to you? Somebody can unmute yourself and tell me.
To know the details of a person, clarity.
Okay. Anyone else? Anyone
Whether
To
the
check
else?
person
the
is capable of doing the job.
capa-
To know
Okay.
communication skills and speaking skills of the person.
Okay. Great. Rakesh, you want to say something? Can you please tell me? Yeah, please.
that only, to check the person's ability to do the work for that company.
Okay. Okay. So can I be very, very simpler in that format? And if I say interview is just nothing but to know your inner views. Even in the American, they call it as interviews, right? So interviews is nothing, just how do you, what are your views on particular topic, particular question is an interview. That's all it is. We have complexed it so much, right? But it is not this complex, we have made it, right? So interview is nothing, just a recruiter asks you questions to understand your view, your thought process, and if you meet the expectation, you are through, right? So that's what it is. Now where is the slide? Okay, where is the second slide? Okay, now these are the types of interviews that you can expect. One is telephonic or online interviews. Like for example, during pandemic, there are recruiters those who are following the, telephonic interviews, online interviews, or they will create one Zoom meeting, or maybe WebEx, or maybe other platforms wherein you can go appear and can attend your interview. So these are one of other kinds of interviews. Somebody has to admit, right? Then panel interview. In panel interview, what happens is there are more than two people, those who are sitting all together, and they interview a person. This generally happens for the senior positions, or maybe people with good experience or rich experience of 8 years, 9 years. So if we are hiring such a person into the organization, so there is a panel interview where the heads of different departments, they sit together and interview the interviewee. Now face to face interview is when you reach the destination, when you reach the company and have the one to one discussion with the recruiter. So that is F2F interviews. Even you can hear or you can see these terminologies in your in your JDs also, like job descriptions. There also they write, are you available for F2F interviews? So many of you get confused that, ma'am, what is this F2F? So this F2F is nothing but face to face. Then stress interview. So there are few profiles which needs to be to where to check this stress level, the stress bearing level of an employee. Now let's say for example, maybe there is a profile of a Java developer, or of data analyst, or maybe the profile which requires how a person can really, you know take the stress. So those are stress interviews. So there are few questions that has been designed by the psychometric assessments, or could be psychological, the psychologists, they create the set of questions that are being asked from the student, or there will be variety of under situations given to the student to find out his capacity to take the stress. So this is stress interview again. This question can be asked by the freshers, but very less chances are there. Now, behavioral and technical. So now these two interviews are very, very, very much important for a fresher, because companies,
Hello,
they are,
ma'am.
yeah,
Could you explain a stress interview?
yes. Stress interview is where they give you the stressful situation. For example, they will give you the questions like a storm. What do you do? Why you are not, why you are here? What makes you come here? Right? Tell me about your skills. Why Java, not Python? Why Python? What happened to .NET? Tell me this thing. Right? Why did you join our company? And back to back questions are coming to you. So now you either will drop down your confidence and you'll say, sir, I am not the right person to go forward. I would like to leave. Or your face will say it all, that you're not able to take that storm and you are keeping your weapons down. Or you will be a warrior who will be taking the questions one by one because your mind is working really, really, really fast, right? So that those kind of interviews are stress interviews. Where the recruiter has a poker face, where he's not responding whether he's happy with you, not happy with you, but he's giving you stressful condition, and he wants to check that how well do you perform in the stressful situation. Because maybe as a Java developer, Python developer, or maybe if you're working in Microsoft technologies or AIs or maybe cloud computing, so yes, eventually you will have a lot of stress to work upon multiple things altogether. But if you are a person who cannot bear that stress, so definitely you are not a right candidate for my company. So that's the reason the recruiter suggests, and they are interested in these stress interview primarily. Now the behavioral question. Now this behavioral is very important, because nowadays what has happened is, okay, I'll show you in the picture also. uh, this is the panel interview. Like, I have just got the picture to demonstrate. So that's how the panelists are sitting to take to take the interview of a one person. This is F2F, right, where the one-on-one discussion is happening. So the stress interview is again to gauge to gauge the attendance candidates response to stress. Then comes the behavioral one. So now this behavioral one is when they want to understand the behavior of a person, how the person behave. Now every company, be it any company nowadays, they believe in the star technique of hiring. Can someone please tell me what is star technique? Anyone out here? Can they tell me what is star technique? Anyone? Yes, no, maybe. Have you heard this term first time? All right, let me show you. See, be it Amazon, be it Mintra, be it maybe your Zomato, be it your your Facebook, Google, right? Every company's recruiters nowadays, they follow this star technology to recruit any person. Now what is this star technology? So this star technology says technique, sorry, not technology, I'm so sorry. So this star technique says situation, task, action, and result. So what they do is they will give you one situation, or maybe a case study, or maybe any real time situation, right? They'll give you one question, out of which you have to explain the situation, the task that has been asked from you to complete, what was the action that you had taken against that task. So first of all, what was the situation, what was the task that was assigned to you, what is the action you have taken, and then what was the result. So if a student is able to justify these four parameters, so that particular candidate will never get rejected from any of the interview process. If you could handle these particular four parameters, you are able to explain the situation, you are able to tell the what are the tasks assigned to you, you are able to tell what was the what was the action that has been taken from your side, and what was the result against your action, right? And if your result becomes the by it becomes the action related, and you resolve them, right, without any conflict, so definitely you are in the win-win situation. Any doubt so far?
No, ma'am.
Okay, everyone. So, do you think this session is
Yes,
becoming
ma'am.
interesting for you? Is it becoming very boring for you all?
Very interesting.
Very
Interesting?
interesting.
All right. All right. So let me move forward here. Now, let's understand two more three things here. Where it is, EQ, IQ. Okay, no problem. I'll explain here. Then only we will move forward with technical interviews. Now, do you think how the recruiter hires a person? Let me explain you here. If somebody knows the answer, please tell me. These are the three parameters on which the student or the candidate gets hired. Anyone out here would like to answer? Anyone? Yes, yes. Interviewer will check your grooming for sure. Can someone please tell me what is it? No? Okay. Any wild guesses what is LQ? Any wild guesses what is LQ? Anyone? Logical questions? No. So that's what it is. Now understand. Now this is very important. Yes, Vishnu, you're right. Even Priyanshu gave the half of the answer right. LQ is a learning question. So now, if you will read the articles, right? Uh, the uh, the the CEO of IBM, Ginny Romati, she gave one article a long time back where she wrote the the youth of India, you know, is educated but not skilled. Right? She really passed one very strong statement by saying that the youth of India is educated but not skilled. That means everybody has the degrees in their hands, but they are not skilled that ways. Let's say they have invested 4 years to learn some technologies, but they are not skilled to according to 4 years that they have put in into one of the courses they have enrolled in. And if they are not able to justify their 4 years, then how do you think they will be able to justify their rest of the presence in the company? Right? So what nowadays recruiters have done is they have started evaluating students on these three parameters. Now, if you are eligible for these three parameters, and if you are really justifying them three, so definitely you are at the right place. Now, one is your learning question. So before that, let me start with IQ. IQ, I'm sure everybody knows what is IQ. Intelligent question. It's all about your logical thinking, your analytical things, your creativity, and your the how do you adapt things, how quickly you understand things, is your IQ. Now, many of the students will believe that, if my IQ is high, if I'm intelligent enough that I can solve one question in 10 minutes, right, in 10 seconds, so definitely I'm going to get the job. Yes, it's absolutely right. But if any of these three are in imbalanced state, yes, your credibility, your candidature in the company becomes not really great. If your IQ is really high, but your LQ and EQ is not justifying it, so definitely you are not the best fit. Only if your IQ is high and your IQ and LQ is not really meeting the recruitment, otherwise that in that reason also it's a big no. Your LQ is high, but your IQ and EQ is zero, still you are not a best fit for the company. So these three questions are needed in the company in the balanced way out. If a person is good with IQ, but he has no EQ, they will get rejected. So according to the company nowadays, if you talk about nowadays, the trend is that the person must have 60% of EQ and 40% of IQ. Now the meaning of it is, now let's say there is a candidate who reaches the recruitment room and says, start answering the questions. So maybe out of 50 questions, he could only answer 30 questions, right? But his attitude is really nice. He has a learning attitude wherein he's showing, the promising results, and his attitude is toward the learning is really good. And I can really think of him to sustain in the organization, right, for a longer period of time. So definitely I would like to take the person over a person who has great IQ, but he looks very, very practical, that that person can switch the companies in frictions of seconds just to get the job, or just to get few or maybe 5-10% hike, and he can go to any company without any ethics. So definitely that person will be a wrong choice for the company, and they reject them. Now, if IQ and EQ is meeting but LQ is not meeting, then also it's a problematic state. So how are you being judged on this thing? So they will ask you a few technical questions. So when the technical questions are being asked, or some aptitude tests are being conducted by the company, right, they conduct like aptitude test, the quantitative test for you, where it comprises of one mathematic paper of quant, and then that is LR, logical reasoning, and verbal ability. So that's how your exam is segregated into three parts. If I'm wrong, please correct me out here. So there they check your IQ. So first gate for you is this aptitude, this test which you have to go through. So which will comprise of first quantitative, then logical reasoning, and then verbal ability. Now, by this he got to understand your IQ, or even if you reach the technical person, right? Now I'll tell you, Yogesh. So IQ is intelligent question. So this intelligent question, or maybe they can ask you some technical questions related to your uh, languages or the technical skills you have mentioned on your resume. They can ask questions from Java, they can ask questions from Python, they can ask questions from XYZ skills you have mentioned. So from there, he will get to understand your IQ. Now he will start asking you the questions from EQ. Now EQ is always assessed by the situations they provide you. For example, they'll give you one situation. Now everybody, you have to answer me. What will you say? You are new to a city. You are new to a city, and on the way you got recruited to some other country, some other location, right? And this is your first day to the office, and since you are a new to this particular city, so on the way to your work you saw one accident, road accident, where the patient needed you the most. So what will be your first course of action that you will be performing at that particular time? What will you do? Now this question is for everybody. What will you all do?
I will call ambulance.
You will call ambulance, okay. What else? 108.
We just do first aid, ma'am. First thing, have to make them breathe.
Okay. What else?
Try to help them, ma'am.
You will try to help them, all of you. Somebody will call the ambulance. How will you call the ambulance if it is your first day, and how will you get to know that what is the number? Just a second.
Ma'am.
Okay, so that's how it is, right? So that learning question, that IQ is your the first thing that you said is, ma'am, I will try to call his I will call the ambulance. And how will you call the ambulance, since you are the new to this city? How will you know the local numbers? First. Now second, people said that you will help them. How will you help them?
By giving him a first aid, ma'am.
How will you give the first aid?
By
Taking
approaching
the
the
near
native
shot.
person.
How will you understand that what is the near hospital?
By seeking help of native
By
people.
seeing Google Maps.
And if the need, and there is a dire need of him to take to the hospital right now, then what do you think? You will first search the number, or what? And how will you understand, are you taking him to the right hospital or not? Somebody said, I will inform their guardians and relatives. How will you get it if he has no phone, or his phone is broken, or maybe you don't have the access to his phones? How will you do it? So these kind of statement situations are given to you to understand how logically you think. So definitely there is one hidden crunch out here. Is there could be multiple ways. I'm not going into that particular meaning. But the main thing is, I told you at the first place, it's your first day to the work, right? Now, the first thing that you are supposed to do is, right, that, sir, today I am coming late to the organization since I can see somebody is lying on the road and needs my help. I will be joining 10 minutes or half an hour late. Then probably you could have discussed it with the nearby or passerbys, that which is the near hospital. Could have called one any local transport or something like that, and then dropped to the person to the hospital. Then probably after he or she would have been fine, you could have informed the respective guardians or so. So there are multiple ways can be around, but they want to check how responsible you are towards the work. Nobody talked about, like what is the what else could be the learning questioned out here. Oh, I that sorry, what could be the first thing to be done? Because since you're the first person, you're new to this particular city, and you do not have anybody around here, and it is the first day of your job, and I mentioned it twice and thrice, right? So that ways, whenever you have been given any situation, and every big companies, they don't ask those old questions. They have some different situations for you all to understand your mindset. Then comes your EQ. EQ is your emotional quotient. How well do you how are you emotionally connected? Are you a person who is empathetic in nature? Are you a person who is who relates others? Can you be in a good team? Can you be a good team player? Are you a person who creates the conflict, or you are a person who resolve the conflicts in the department? Isn't a way? Are you not a are you not a troublemaker that you create a lot of mess in the workplace, and every second day I have to be called for your the stuff you have created and resolve them? No. So those kind of situations a person will understand in EQ based questions. Then comes the LQ. LQ is visible on your resume. How? When you have your resumes ready with you, they also check the trainings and certifications you have taken. So they like to check that how soon you update yourself with the technology or with the upcoming technology. Are you a person who will learn something and then take it miles, or you are a person you update your skills timely to get updated to perform better? Right, so that's how they understand LQ is that yes, a person has learning ability potential. So if I hire him, he will always update himself and will grow, upskill himself, not only as an employee but as also as a a person who want to grow as a manager or something like that sort. So now, any question in these three parts, LQ, IQ, and EQ? Yes, no, maybe. Now, do you think this thing was really new to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you learn something new today? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
And trust me, 100% people evaluate you on this. I'm giving you a very strong number, but yes, 100%. Now let's come out here. Lunch dinner interview is not for you because it is for the senior people out here. Now your interview that happens for you is always divided into three parts: before interview, during interview, and after interview. So can anyone would like to tell me that what are the do's of before interview, during interview, and after interview? Any wild guesses?
Yeah, ma'am. Before interview, we should not be more tensed and confused what you have to talk or what they will ask. We should not think about those. We should be free and be peaceful before the interview. And during the interview, we should expose ourselves, like our thoughts, what they are asking, and how can we project our thoughts in front of them.
Ma'am, before interview, they will check our patient level and things like that. They will check our patients, how we are eager in that or not. Like that, ma'am.
Correct. So see, what happens is in your interview process, they also understand and evaluate your communication skills, which is very important. I have already discussed in the first session that how is it important for you, because since you are living in, I hope you all are from India. Is any from outside
Yes,
India out
ma'am.
here?
No, ma'am.
Inside India.
So when you all are from India, so we need to understand one thing, that we live in the country wherein we are English is the global language, right? So everybody understands English, and trust me on this, that your interview will also happen in that language only, where the recruiter will give a good percentage of how you communicate yourself, how you communicate your idea or your thought process or a data that has been mentioned on resume or that has been asked in terms of questions. So framing of sentences are very, very much important for everybody who is appearing for the interview process. Even if you have to work day and night, I don't care, but yes, there is no escape route that you don't, even if you don't have good communication skills, you will be hired. There might be one or two cases like 2-3 companies, they don't bother much about it, but the percentage is really low. Later you start speaking in whatever native language you have, but then for interview purpose, everybody wants you to speak good English with right pronunciation, and effective communication skills, right? That means you are able to, they need smart worker, not hard worker. And yes, absolutely right, daydreamer Ashwin, right? So yeah, that is the must thing. Now the before interview, there are few checklists that has been there, right? So before interview, what is needed is, let me discuss it one by one. Now first thing is read about the company, right? Because the first question can come across is that why do you want to work in this company? Can we say that this is the only company that I have that has approached me, that's the reason I have come here? I am a person who can't be a chooser. No, we can't do that, right? So before you reach the company, you must have the basic knowledge of the company you are going. For example, if you go to TCS and TCS asks you, what will you do in my company and what do you know about my company, what my company does? Oh, it's a consulting company. Oh, really? What we do? What are the consultations that we do? Or who are the major clients, where we have the business around? Now you are clueless, but still you want to work in a company. So they will be like, why do you want to work in a company to whom you even don't know? Why do you see your future out here? And you have promised n number of things out here that, I would like to work in a dream company, something like that sort. So they will connect you that why do you think it's a dream company for you? What makes it, your dream company? So you can always answer these questions when you would know about the company in detail, that what is the company all about, who is the CEO, when it was founded, right? What is the current status, who are the competitors, where all it is located, what are the head office areas, right? How many branches they have in India or abroad, right? And what is the speciality of the company, where they deal the most. So this is the basic information every candidate must have before they approach any company. Is that clear, everyone? History of the company, yes, to be precise. Now, after that, go through the JD, which is job description. So every company, before they come and hire you, they want to understand a few questions, that why do you think you are the best person for this particular profile? Now you can only answer these questions. Now you will be only answering these questions when you would have the idea of the profile they have published. What are their expectations from the candidate? Are they looking from a person who has Java knowledge, who has Python knowledge, or who has anything that way? So they first, before you enter the interview room, you must have the knowledge of job description. What is the company looking for? So that will be covered under job description. I hope you all understand what is job description. I had explained that way that day. Anyone out here who doesn't understand what is job description? All right. Reread your resume once more, right? What happens is when we draft the resume, you should always reconfirm it a day before, right? So what you need to do is, you can, a day before, you can have a dry run of your resume where you check your resume, that way if it is grammatically correct or not, or there is no spelling mistakes, all the information that has been provided is correct or not, is that resume updated or not? Because if you ask you, why didn't you ask this, mention this this particular information in resume? Sir, it is my old resume, I forgot to mention this. This will be a very, very wrong situation. right? So that this is a very wrong situation, because you they will believe that you are a very careless person. So your resume has to be always updated. Correct. Dress up formally. Like somebody has asked me, ma'am, do they bother about it or not? Now I'll give you one example out here. I'll just give you one example out here. Okay, no problem. So let understand, if you see a person a very shabby way, and there is a second person who came in jeans, loose t-shirts, wearing sneakers, having maybe a backpack on his shoulder, carrying the resume like a roll, right? And stinking, or maybe has a bad haircut, right? And this guy go and sit in front of the recruiter, whereas the second candidate who comes in formal dress, wearing nice shirt, trousers, shoes, watch, hair properly done, a nice folder where he has arranged all the documents, and then smilingly he is reaching the recruiter's room. So now what do you think the recruiter will get impressed first before he introduce himself to the recruiter? Now, whom do you think will be more impressive?
Well dressed candidate, madam.
Okay. Everybody? Attitude, okay. Formals. Yes. Very good. The person who is coming in formal, that means that person has taken out the time to understand. It's not like we don't want to change the way it's all about knowledge. No, nowadays it's all about presentation. It's similarly, you go to a five-star hotel and they serve you in one go like a street vendor does. Then you will be evaluating that why am I here in five-star hotel if I have to be served as a street vendor food. Similarly, if you are dressed up, you have been evaluated that this person has taken out some time to understand the sincerity of the event, to dress himself according to the event, and he is looking a professional who is very sincere, and this person needs the job. So your dress up shows your sincerity towards the job, your attitude towards the opening out here, right? So you want to look like a professional, right? So that shows your behavior, that shows your organizing skills, that shows your attitude, which is a must. Now wear the wristwatch. So what is the importance of wearing the wristwatch? I would like to give a brownie point to a person who will answer this question. Wear your wristwatch.
I'm serious about time.
Very good. Very correct. Absolutely. So that shows how are you serious towards the time. That means you follow time management. For you, time is important, right? It is not just the accessory. It is also all about how do you want to be in discipline with the time management. So yes, this is very, very much important to wear the wristwatch. Also, it will keep you in check that your session, let's say your interview starts at 4:30 in the evening. So it will keep you in check. Yes, you will be there. Arrange your documents in portfolio in chronological order. Now, this is very important. Now, I request and I tell every student that please not carry your documents in hand, making a roll out of it. Or maybe when it is summers, you have kept in the pocket, it is all loaded with water, with your sweats, and you keep it and you hand it over to the recruiter. He will not even have the audacity to touch that particular resume. So on the lighter mode, yes, or maybe you had just lunch before that, and your resume is full of the yellow colors, and sometime maybe you had a gravy, so it could be a red color one. So don't experiment with your resume. So please avoid all these situations. Right, to avoid all these situations, what you need to do is you need to create one folder. You need to have one folder. So now these leather folders are available in the market. Even you can search it on different e-commerce website, right, on maybe Amazon, Flipkart, or any other e-commerce site. You can buy yourself professional leather portfolios, right, that is available, right. So how to arrange them? First will be your resume. First page will be of your resume. At least you must have 5 pages of your resume. If I have mentioned it that way, let me just check if it is there. No, that is not mentioned, I guess. Okay, no worries. So first page, first folder, first page, leaf of that particular folder will have uh, your resume. Then second leaf will have your highest degree which you have, right. For example, you can have it for right. All right. So second leaf will be your highest degree of your. So now what how you have to do is you have to arrange your semester wise report. For example, if you're in BTech fourth year, so you have must have cleared 5 semesters till now, or 6 semesters. So you will have the mark sheet of all 6 semester in the chronological order, like first 6 semester mark sheet, then fifth, then fourth, then third, then second, and then first. If you have completed all these, then you will receive the degree out of it. Then you need not to have the mark sheets. You can have just a degree aligned with it. So after you have your highest degree there, then you will the third leaf will be for your 12th. So 12th will have your passing certificate, then migration certificate, maybe the relieving letter from the office, so college. That will be your third leaf. Then comes your 10th. Then again the same certificates, your migration certificate, your passing certificate, your mark sheet, whatsoever it is required, you will put it out there. Then you will have your identification proofs, like you can have your Aadhaar card number, you have your PAN card number, sorry, your Aadhaar card, then your PAN card, or maybe your passports, your voter IDs, whichever document you're carrying for yourself. So two copies of each will be there in your folders. After which there will be few photographs that you will be taking it along, professional photographs, not like any selfies that you must have taken with your friends or family, or maybe you were looking good on solo pictures. No, a professional passport size photographs, maybe a copy of 4 or 5 should be there, one pen, and few plain papers if it is a discussion round. So those 4 sheets should be there if recruiter asks you to write something. So for the safer side, you should have those blank sheets attached in your folder, and then you can take it easily to the room. Now if that keeps you first of all organized. Now if and in n space the recruiter asks you, okay, may I have your 12th mark sheet please, I want to see and verify it. Now you don't have to, sir, that is at home, I have to call my mother and she will give it. No. Why? I have all the documents ready with me with original and photographs at one place. I am very much organized, right? So you can take out that paper from that document, and you can submit it to your recruiter. So that ways you are very, very much sorted and organized. You need not to carry any other thing that ways. So do you understand this thing? I hope this was very informative. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So once you have done this, when you have done this homework, your sorting and everything is done, then comes your 30 minutes before reaching that, before the time. So now let's say I mean, what has happened is the scheduled time of your interview was supposed to be, let's say, at 1 p.m., right? So you chose to reach there by maybe, you thought, if I would leave here, maybe, I'll reach there by 5 12:50 or 12:55. No. So my dear friends, if you are planning to reach your your recruitment center, you have to reach there at least 30 minutes before the commencement, because you have to take out the buffer time. Don't be a person who will believe, oh, my place is just 2 kilometers from here, even I will start here 15 minutes early, I will reach there, right? You don't know the situations. Maybe that day you don't get the transport, you don't get the the situation is not with you. So to avoid all these last time hassle and these unavoidable situations, it is always suggested that leave your home at least 30 to 45 minutes early, so that you can reach in time, and also you get some time to relax in the washroom by just washing off your face if you want to, or you want to have a good time for yourself, to just freshen up yourself, to relax yourself, because you were really really tired while traveling, or maybe in the anxiety or that stress. So you should get some time for yourself, to at least spend some 10-15 minutes for yourself to relax, because if you are in stressful situations, so definitely your performance would be not that really effective. So for that, you need to actually control your breath, and you need to control your mind as well. Then only your efficiency will become really good. Rishabh, you have a query, please let me know. Some queries are there, no? Please ask Rishabh. You can even unmute yourself and tell me. Ma'am, how to let them understand the programming questions? Okay. Okay. What happens is, here is when you talk about the programming questions, so they will actually give you, there are 2-3 ways. First is, nowadays even the companies know, they have one round as technical interview round, where what happens is, that is coding ninja or something like that sort, is there. What they do is, they'll give you one platform. On that particular platform, they can give you set of that is kind of code chef test. I'm so sorry, that is code chef test, where they can ask you few questions. And maybe there would be a certain code for which they will ask you to write the output of the same, or they will ask you if the same code can be written with while loop, or can we have there is a if there is a palindrome, can you write it with some other logic or not, right? If you have if it is a binary tree, so can you do it with something else? So there are certain questions that could be asked related to that particular time in code chef or test. If it is not, then what they will ask you, if you are in the technical room, he will give you one paper, he will give you one question, he will ask you to write the output, or he will ask you how will you write a program to insert a number in using queue or linked list, or maybe stack or something like that sort. I'm not a technical person, so that way please excuse me for the same. Right. So then what is to be implemented? If it is a LIFO, it is a FIFO, whatever it is, right? Or it is an array, then what to be done next? So that's how they will understand what is your knowledge related to the programming questions. Understand? So I hope I gave you your answer, Rishabh. All right. Now comes your knock before you enter. Now this is a very basic mannerism I think we all follow, right? Before you enter to any recruiter's room, you should always knock. Although it has been announced that you are the next candidate to enter in the room, but it is always needed that you knock the door before you enter it, right? And whenever you knock and enter, always give a smile, because everybody loves to meet a person who comes smilingly. They would not like a person who enters in a room with all anxiety, fear on the face and seems very uninteresting, or maybe their body language is over loud, or they're careless, or they're very, very lethargic in the approach. So body language plays a very important role. So do you all want a session for body language also? If you mutually say yes, I will have one session for body language only.
Yes, madam.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sure. I'll have one. And I'll show you how different personalities are, body language reflects what. I'll show you. Now, then comes where upon asking the coordinator again and again, when is my chance? When will I go meet with him? So you have to wait for your call. You have to be patient out there. Don't knock the door impatiently. It's not like you're banging up the door. It's always to knock the door only thrice. It's like, just 3 taps are more than sufficient. Shouldn't be like banging on the door again. Prepare your introduction. Now, this is very, very, very important. I have to mention it like 100 times, so I'll share with you. Introduction is something that you should have it on your tips. Even if you ask you in the day, any time of the day that introduce yourself, you should be well versed of how to answer the question. If somebody asks you to introduce yourself, do you all know how to introduce yourself? Because this is something which I have already discussed in my sessions, that this is a must thing that you all should know. Do you all know that? Great. And this is something that you will definitely going to understand first before you enter in the room of the recruiter, that what is introduction, because he can ask you again. So how do you introduce yourself? Hi, good morning, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Good evening. Sitting. My name is so and so. Never ever say myself. Your name is yours. Nobody has stolen it from you, so you cannot say myself. Myself is absolutely wrong. So it is this is, or I am, or my name is. So either of them is correct. So once you say hi, my name is let's say Jeshta, right? My name is Jeshta. I am from Bangalore. I have completed my BTech or my graduation from the school with this particular domain. So you have to specify that you're from computer science, electronics, engineering, or maybe mechanical, civil, IT, whatsoever it is. And I have my expertise in Python, Java, MySQL, where I've spent good time on projects, based on the technologies that I have mentioned. And I aspire to be a software engineer. And as my likings are concerned, I am a big time coder, or I'm a person who believes in technology. So that's all from my side. Anything else that I can help you with? So now here your things which were necessary for that particular moment. You wanted to tell about the technical skills, right? So you're not sharing what is your father, what is your mother, what is your sibling does, or what they are into, what you like doing in your personal professional life. This is something extra, but you talked specifically to the point, right? So that's how you introduce yourself. And the more you speak in the introduction, you give chance to the recruiter to backfire questions that means. and mention the technical skills in which you are really good at. Don't flaunt your skills out there, because if you try to flaunt in front of recruiter, they will really understand, okay, now let me take this person, a nice one, and let me understand it the better way out, right? So it's always suggested that don't play very very smart with the recruiters, neither try to be over smart, and don't share too many information which is not even required for him to know, right? Sir, I'm a team player, I'm an I'm a person who believes in motivation, I have motivated so many friends all together, I'm a person who bring revolutions, that ways, right? I'm a person who can create n number of things. So that is over exaggerated, which is not even required. So this is how you will be preparing your introduction, and this introduction is very 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 much important, because this is a first impression that you are going to create in front of the recruiter, and this will justify your 40% of the leftover interviews, because your confidence, the way you deliver, says it all. Correct? So please invest good time to understand in your introduction. Any question till now? Any questions? And whenever you are presenting yourself, your introduction, so always have a good smile, right? You should have a good smile on your face, right? And yes, you are sitting straight, you are not fiddling with your pen, you're not fiddling with your fingers, you're not going to have eye contact, you're not here and there, you are just facing the recruiter, right? So these are few things that you will be doing before interview session, right? So what are we going to cover in the next class, which is tomorrow, is what is to be done during the session, then after the session. Now this is a different story which we will start from today, as today now it is already 8:50 and we all will be running with the time. So let's keep these 10 minutes for the Q&A session. If you have any till here, then we will be covering what is to be done in during the session, after the session, and then later we will start with the question answers round. So any question till now? You can think. How you all could not have any questions? How is it possible?
Ma'am, I did not attend last session classes, ma'am. I want this recording, ma'am.
Yes, yes, you will get this recording. Don't worry. This session is recorded.
Okay, ma'am.
How you all cannot have the questions? I'm really surprised, because ultimately you must have all curious, you must have the curiosity that what happens if we don't do this, what happens if we don't do this. That means you have to open up your creativity, think from out of the box, right? Think, if we are in the situation, what are the challenges that you can face? Okay, repeat, my ma'am, whatever the learning now, it is online mode, but we can prepare for all offline interviews. Yes, absolutely, Yogesh. You can obviously prepare for the offline interviews. You have to be prepared for both the worlds. You have to be prepared for online, offline, both. You cannot rely on one platform. Repeat on tell me tell me something about yourself will include, first of all, your name, then your education or maybe a current degree, then from where are you doing, in which field you are doing, and then you will be telling about your expertizations, or maybe any award, any achievement you have, any which you really want to mention. For example, my skills are, I'm very much excited about Python, and against which I have won first prize in Code Chefs. So against, you are justifying and supporting your answers, right? That ways. How much steps are there in an interview, for an interview of software engineer? So if I talk now, there are 4 steps. First is the rejection process, because see, all over the country, if I all over country, there are almost 5 lakhs engineers that passes through. So now if a company is coming, then how will they reject such a mass? So first they do is the mass rejection process, that is your quant test. In your quant test, they actually reject multiple people based on their expectations. So that aptitude test will have quantitative test, verbal ability, and logical reasoning. After you finish it, you get the, if you're sorted, you'll enter to technical round. Or before that, you can have the code chef round. After you pass that code chef, you will be at least 50% through. Then you reach to the technical interview, where the person can ask you the technical question related to the skills, languages, tools you have mentioned in the resume. He is not going to ask you anything different from it, right? Once you're through technical, then HR is through. No, that is not a case. Many students interview also, right? So that's how your recruitment process works. Okay. Ma'am, while speaking, you study first. We have to tell our past or present. Like you have to tell about your present, my graduation in this field from this place. So that's how you combine it. Ma'am, how they will judge us before moving into technical questions, whether they will be eligible for the further discussions or not. I don't get it what you want to say. How they will judge us before moving into technical questions, whether we are eligible for further discussions or not. I told you that they have set of questions that they circulate, and they can ask you to solve those questions. And if you could solve them, so definitely they will take you forward for the other questions. Ma'am, can you give some questions on verbal and reasoning questions of interviews? Renee, I am not a verbal trainer. I am really sorry for this. Yeah, I know verbal ability. I can, if you want, I can tell, what kind of questions can come for verbal ability, but I am not a person for logical reasoning. What are the various rounds which take place of the interview process? I have already answered this question, Vishnu. Ma'am, what does a software engineer actually do in a technical company? I mean, they are not going to ask or solve questions. Definitely. Yogesh, they could ask, the software engineers to write few codes, right? They can ask you to maybe prepare a model, or maybe a website, or maybe how to link the different pages, or they can give you certain technology which that company follows, the tools that they follow. They will train you on that, and then they can accordingly they can ask you to code on different languages like C, C++, Python, Perl, COBOL, Java, whatever it is. Yeah, right. If I know an individual tech C++, then the recruiters know about it. They will ask a basic question. No, if you say that you are pro in Java, then you can expect the intermediate level questions. If you say that you have started learning Java, then you can expect the beginner levels. But trust me on this, they can ask you questions from OOPS mostly, and your OOPS and DBMS. These are the two important topics which every person asks if you are applying for the post of software engineer. Then obviously the waterfall model, the spiral model, or I don't know what all or things are there, that what are the levels and how do you assess, something like that sort they ask you. So mostly we will be doing coding in tech companies as software developer. Yes, obviously you have to do coding to become a developer, right? Because you are developing a software, so for that you need to write the codes at the back end. So yes, you have to do a lot of coding out there. So any other question for me? So students, same way. Yeah, please tell me.
And we have said about the star technique. The situation we have to attend to interview, or interviewer can explain to us.
Yes, for example, they can ask you, how do you define yourself a team leader? You can then tell them the situation, then the task allocated, what was the action that you have taken, and what was the result. Jeshta, I am the wrong person to ask these technical questions, right, ma'am? Will the interview tell us to make the presentation in the interview? No, they will not ask you to write the presentation. They can give you one rough pen and paper to write one code or write one output of the same. That's all. They can ask you questions, or they can give you a set of questions and they can ask you on their own portfolios, but they are not going to ask you the presentation. hardware and software. Software that you can see, you can't touch, you cannot see, you cannot feel, right? Those are the intangible objects, like, the running codes. Hardware is something that you can touch, feel, like, the floppies, disk, your hard drive. These are all hardwares. Softwares are like, you have a software called what are different softwares available, like you have to install something. That is your, for beginners and experts. Yeah. How many pages does and must be in resume? For beginners must be one. For experts it could be two, but not more than two for experts and not more than one for beginners. So I hope I was able to give all the answers to your questions. So now let's meet tomorrow. The timing would be 12 to 1:30. Please be available. Don't miss this slide, because if you miss one, I'm sure you will break the flow out here, right? And let's meet tomorrow, 12 p.m. You can call it as AM also, but I call it as PM, right? So let's meet tomorrow at the mentioned time, and all the queries you have, whatever sessions was there today, write down your queries, and then let's start discussing them tomorrow. So yeah, this session will be given to you. Yes, I will tell you, don't worry. And so I hope this session was wonderful to you. Any feedbacks out here for today's session? Okay, very nice. I'm happy to understand this if it was interesting for you. Right. So now let's meet tomorrow, friends. Have a great time and enjoy your weekend with your family. Right. And let's meet tomorrow at the same time. All right. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Take care. Bye.